Could join us. It is Weather Unfiltered. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson, as always, joined by our hurricane expert, Dr. Nab. We are tracking Ernesto, tropical storm as of yesterday, just before the end of our show. And now we've got a lot of hurricane watches up.
And we are now 5 for 5 this year with the named storms directly affecting land areas. And I think Ernesto has a serious shot at becoming our second major hurricane of the year.
The good news is the long-term forecast track generally takes it away from the mainland U.S., which is a good thing.
Yeah, the bad news is major hurricanes or something close to it in the western Atlantic, either side of Bermuda, can bring some dangerous conditions to the coastline of the east coast of the U.S.
So we're not going to escape completely unscathed. We'll break it all down for you. But as I mentioned, hurricane watches are up for some of the islands in the Caribbean right now. As Ernesto continues to gain strength, we've seen this move away from the areas hardest hit by Beryl. Yeah. And now this time we're looking at some effects in places like Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, now most of its intensification is going to happen after it leaves the Caribbean, but there's that outside chance it becomes a hurricane as it is leaving. But I think I'm mostly concerned, as we are usually with tropical storms, about water. A lot of rain falling on these mountainous islands.
All right, so Ernesto has become our 5th named storm of the season. A lot of season left to go. We know that for sure. We're just really beginning to get to the heart of it. The next name on the list will be Francine, but ultimately we think a lot of these names could be used, Dr. Nab, because an active season is still forecast ahead of us.
Yeah, and Alice was talking, we were talking yesterday about how between now and the end of September, in an average year, you're going to average a storm every week. And this year, I think the conditions are more conducive than usual for a lot more storms, a lot more hurricanes, and more majors.
All right, well, stay with us. Dr. Nab is going to detail Ernesto's impacts in the Caribbean and beyond, as well as what it means for the East Coast states in just a few minutes. But what do you say? We start Kansas City, Missouri. Popular spot here as we head towards the football time. We've got partly cloudy skies to start many of these days, but the thunderstorms will be bubbling up, and we will get some heavy rain at times along with the thunderstorms. Chance of severe weather, too. Want to rule out hail or gusty damaging winds, and Torcon values relatively low. Right now, we've got some thunderstorms rolling through parts of southern Missouri into the northern stretch of Arkansas. So this has cleared Springfield, still bringing portions of 44, some very heavy rain and frequent lightning. A lot of that, though, is south of the interstate, but continues to roll off towards the east, offering up some gusty sub-severe winds, and it's produced a lot of rainfall. So Springfield, Greene County under a flash flood warning until 2:30 local time. We've also got Battlefield and Willard in the path of this one. This is radar and gauge indicated. So radar has shown very heavy rates have come down in a short period, and the gauges are reflecting that. So we've seen those on the rise. Heaviest of rain has moved through Branson, but areas to the east still getting that wet weather. We've got a disturbance that strengthens as it moves off to the east into midweek. So both today and tomorrow will bring the risk of severe weather. Today into parts of Nebraska, Colorado, and northeast or northwest Kansas. And tomorrow we just go to the other side of the state. So eastern Nebraska, eastern Kansas, western Missouri. Future radar looks like this. We're watching those showers and thunderstorms developing during the afternoon. Parts of Montana and Idaho and Utah will again be seeing some of that scattered wet weather. Colorado will be a spot to watch for active severe weather. You can see by 5 o'clock, plenty of action there in the northeast part of the state, western Nebraska, a little bit of Wyoming, including around Cheyenne, where we had some spicy thunderstorms yesterday. Those storms continue to move east into the overnight, during the day tomorrow, or into the day tomorrow, I should say, with gusty winds and very heavy rain for your morning commute into areas of Missouri and Iowa. So these storms could hold together and at least bring you some torrential downpours to start your Wednesday. Rainfall to come reflected there, 2 to 3 inches possible right through the central part of Missouri, 1 to 2 inches across a good chunk of Iowa, the rest of Missouri, into Illinois, Wisconsin, southern Minnesota. Outside of that, ½ inch to up to an inch, very likely in these areas. But the spots that we'll see the heaviest of rain, better possibility of some flash flooding. Also sections of Colorado and western Nebraska could see a little higher chance of some flash flooding. Outside of that, it would be localized at best. And then tomorrow into Thursday morning, now we're looking at parts of Iowa and Missouri and eastern sections of Illinois for that potential risk of at least some areas of flash flood. In Kansas City, your timing looks like this. Waves of rain showers and thunderstorms, including during the overnight, Mike. So don't be surprised if the rumbles of thunder are waking you up.
All right, Alex, thank you very much for that. Now, that threat of severe weather could be.
It's been hot, it's been dry, and we know that sets the stage for really dangerous fire conditions. Right now, we have 237 active fires. These are the large ones, greater than 100 acres, over 3.1 million acres currently being burned. And again, most of those are in the West and Pacific Northwest. When we look at year-to-date acreage burned in the U.S., 2024 now with over 4 million acres burned. 2023 was a relatively quiet year for fires. I mean, we still had them, over 1 million acres burned, but especially coming on the heels of 2022, where there were over 5.6 million acres burned. Last year was a little bit of a reprieve. We are back to an active fire season, and we've had some really massive fires this year as well, including the Park Fire, now in the top, I think it's like number 4 for largest California fires all time. Last 24 hours, you can see the smoke emission continues to be a problem in the Pacific Northwest, interior parts of the Northwest as well. So air quality alerts remain in effect. We've got parts of Washington, but a lot of Oregon, sections of south central Idaho also under those. And then red flag warnings continue because conditions are still favorable for fires to develop. It is hot, it is dry, and we've got enough wind in these areas. So parts of eastern Oregon, parts of Idaho, including the I-15 corridor through Idaho Falls and Pocatello, the risk of fires definitely present. And isolated dry thunderstorms also remain a risk today for western Idaho into eastern Oregon, a little bit of Washington as well. That's where you've got a really high cloud base, so the rain evaporates before it reaches the ground. You don't get the ground wet, but you get lightning strikes that hit the ground, and unfortunately that leads to fire. So there's that high cloud base that I was talking about, rain evaporating before it hits the ground, but we don't get so lucky with the lightning strikes. Wildfire smoke continues to be a health hazard, especially to those vulnerable to respiratory issues. You want to stay indoors if possible. Use a mask if you're going to be outside, and if you're driving, set the AC to recirculate. You don't want to be drawing in that smoky air. Mike, of course, we also have to pay attention to advisories and evacuate if you are told that the air quality is just unsafe to live with.
All right, thank you, Alex. Now, if you live.
Want to take a peek at your weekend in view? We get you to Friday. Let's just skirt through the rest of the week, right? We've got rain showers across the Ohio Valley into the Northeast. Still warm in the nation's midsection. Dallas at 101, 96 in Denver. All right, Saturday, the all-important day. Your outdoor plans may be affected by thunderstorms in the east. West is dry, still warm. Places like LA at 85. We'll keep it there on Sunday. Denver 92, Dallas 104 to end your weekend. Better chance of thunderstorms around the Big Apple. New York City highs around 81. Same for Chicago, but dry in the Windy City. Meanwhile, Miami near 90 with